Bread with Tom Hartman. I'm your host, Tom Hartman, for October 23rd, 2025. And I'll just warn you right now, yes, today's stream will be so much about Bitcoin, so much about Bitcoin. And I know it's been pretty Bitcoin heavy on Daily Bread for at least a couple of days, a couple of weeks, but that's not my fault. I'm telling you the news that's happening and the big news that's happening now. There's so many things happening in the crypto space. We have people wondering if this is the end of the cycle because we're up. The 1,064 days of the cycle is up, and we're wondering, has Bitcoin topped and are we going to be revisiting the 50,000 K lows? We have some people saying yes, some people saying no. We have the bill, the crypto bill, the Genius Act being passed inside of potentially being passed soon by United States, which who knows could open up a whole new world for stable coins and liquidity to be added to the system from the government and the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which we'll be talking about a little bit today. So that and more news is happening in the crypto space, so it's worth tackling it. Now, just a little amuse-bouche before we start. Trump has terminated all trade negotiations with Canada because apparently an ad that my country has run. This is the tweet that's been posted by the Committee letter. This is from Donald J. Trump, who says the Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75,000. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Well, I wonder what that means for us. Probably that we're going to pay more for things. That seems to be the trend here in Canada. But I love my country. I wanted to see it prosper. So let's maybe get on the good side of Donald Trump if need be. Or if it's the best way of going about it, fine. Look, my opinion is not going to sway anything. Your opinion is not going to sway anything. These countries are going to do what they're going to do. But let's not be negative because there's other things happening right now. This is very interesting. This is a post from the Bitcoin archive, a BTC_archive on X, who says Senator Cynthia Lummis says selling gold to fund a strategic Bitcoin reserve could help address the U.S. national debt without borrowing more money. Let's see what she has to say.
I was able to see through several studies that were done. Michael Saylor has done one. Arthur Laffin, the Laffer Kurd inventor, has done one that profiles if you were to acquire 5% of the world's Bitcoin, roughly 1 million, and hold them for 20 years, you could cut the national debt in half. And so I view a Bitcoin strategic reserve as a means to address the national debt. And because our bill would allow the US to acquire Bitcoin for that purpose without using new borrowed money to do it, it's just taking existing assets that we have that are undervalued and applying them to Bitcoin, which is over a 20-year period going to increase in value. So what we would do is take these gold certificates, convert them from what they're being held at on the US books at their 1974 value, and converting them to current value of gold, and then acquiring the Bitcoin, we would be in a position to fund a U.S. strategic reserve.
Okay, so this is pretty crazy. First of all, this is Senator Cynthia Lummis. She is the one who sponsored the Bitcoin bill for the strategic reserve, where Bitcoin would be used as an asset from the U.S. government in order, that they need to stockpile in order to use it for national security, economic prosperity, that sort of thing. All right, so there's a number of things she said here that we just have to take with a grain of salt. First of all, I just want to say I'm all for this type of thing, but this is like a jubilee. All right, this is she stated a number of things there, matter of fact, as if it's not just absolutely crazy. Number one, that Bitcoin will go up over the next 20 years. Yes, us who are inside of the crypto space, we believe that, but Senator Lummis here, who sounds like she's reading from ChatGPT or memorized recently some report that was given to her. No offenses to Senator Lummis. This is not her idea. Right? This idea has been floating around inside of the crypto space for many years, and now it's coming out of the mouth of the legislative body of the United States, or at least one of the members here. So you have to have this assumption that Bitcoin's going to go up over the next 20 years. And she just says that. She just says that flippantly. Over 20 years. Bitcoin's not even 20 years old. And she's saying that it could, or it's just barely 20 years old, and saying it's going to go up, not only going to exist for in 20 years, but go up over that period of time. Okay. So you just have to take that at face value to the point where taxpayer money needs to be funded in the added to the Bitcoin strategic reserve in order to buy this asset that, hey, for sure it's going up over the next 20 years. Okay. I mean, if that's the case, why not put as much money as you can in there, but whatever. Second, so what they would be doing is that they'd be using gold, the price of gold, or the value of gold, in order to generate this money that's needed in order to buy the Bitcoin, right? Because the idea here is that they're not going to be using taxpayer money. They're not going to be borrowing any money or anything like that. They're not going to be issuing bonds in order to do this. What they're going to do is, the idea here is that on the books at the government, the U.S. Treasury, gold is not $4,000 per ounce like it is right now. It's valued at $35 an ounce or whatever it is when gold was the gold standard was removed from the United States. So they're saying that on the books, the gold that they have has been valued at that. So what they can do is to then mark to market that gold, so that the certificates for those that gold is worth now $4,000 per ounce instead of $35,000 per ounce, or $35 per ounce, and then because it's valued at that amount, they can then collateralize that, sell the warrants, and then use that money in order to buy Bitcoin. So that's like that's like me saying, hey, this glass is an antique. I'm going to go ahead. Now it's no longer 50 cents. It's now worth $100,000. It's rare. It's antique. It's whatever it is. Now you pay me for that, or you give me money as a claim on this, and then I could use that money in order to buy something else. Or in the art world, the idea that, hey, now this painting is worth $100 million. We can go ahead and buy that, and now you can use that as collateral for something else. This is super shady. All right, there's no like two ways about it. It's super shady. That money that gets created because of the mark to market is made up money. It's comes out of nowhere. It's just ploop and it's there. Now I understand. You're saying, well, if the gold at being held by the U.S. Government was valued the way it's supposed to be valued, that's what it would be worth now. Yes, I understand, but in this process, because they were either, the problem is that they are going to be revaluing the gold, or the problem is that they weren't valuing the gold at the right amount to begin with. Either way, the shenanigans being played over here. And so it's just this magic trick. Hey, we could just, this is like when Crystal Ball on Breaking Points was saying they could just mint $1 trillion coin, deposit it, and then cancel the debt. One second here, folks. The government is trying to shut me down, but I will not be swayed. All right, we're choppy again. Let's fix this. The government is trying to shut me down, but the truth will not be silenced. All right. So just this crazy thing that, hey, this thing is worth a lot. Let's take the money from that, buy a bunch of Bitcoin with it. And then that money in the Bitcoin will go up over 20 years. And then the value of that Bitcoin will have the national debt. But that's having the national debt as it is right now. The national debt is growing so violently, so quickly, so exponentially that that's not what it will be worth then, unless they're saying that gold will continue to rise up in value, or maybe that Bitcoin will rise up in value to the degree that we don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're here to figure out what kind of trades we want to take, what kind of investment strategies we want to take, and the government is basically saying Bitcoin's going to be higher in 20 years. Count on it. So I don't know how you don't buy Bitcoin with both fists. I don't know what I'm doing. Why do I just sell everything I have and buy some more Bitcoin? Because that is pretty crazy. Oof. I mean, this is on the heels of Christine Lagarde coming the other day for the ECB chairwoman, talking about how the dollar is losing ground as a world reserve currency. This is a wild time. We're going through a major transformation. All right, next up here. So President Trump pardoned CZ. Pardoned CZ. Let's hear a little bit of what he said about it.
People say that, are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything, that what he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You're fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime, that he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people.
All right. So CZ has been pardoned, and he's already out there saying that he's going to be helping the U.S. government with their plans for crypto. What that is exactly, I don't know. But I guess we can all say that it's going to be crypto going up and to the right. The government's telling you what to buy, folks. The government's telling you what to buy. And if you don't want to hear from the government, how about we hear from the big bad BlackRock? 12 trillion Black CIO said live on CNBC that everyone has to add Bitcoin to their portfolios. Take a gander.
What do you think the ideal portfolio is supposed to look like today? We're surrounded by investors. We're surrounded quite literally by financial advisors who are thinking about that. Retail investors who are watching. I mean, what does it look like today?
Very different than the past. So maybe I'll start with the equity market. I mean, the first thing I would say, we're going through the most extraordinary technology dynamic I've ever seen before. I would stay long equities. By the way, you can buy volatility very cheaply to manage your exposure. And stay long equities oriented to where growth in technology is. In fixed income, income is amazing. You're still clipping 6%. Would I stay 5 years in on the curve? I'd still clip that coupon. We're extending a little bit out. And then, quite frankly, I mean, there's some interesting things to do in privates, bespoke markets. And I think hard assets have to enter the equation today. Gold, Bitcoin, things that give you a little bit of ballast in the portfolio against potential for currency depreciation.
When you talk about Bitcoin should be part of the portfolio, what kind of percentage are you thinking about? Is it a 5%, which generally seems to be what people are talking about, more or less?
It seems high to me. So I run a global allocation fund. Mm-hmm. You know, we're running long equities. You know, we're heavy income. You know, we're running, you know, in the 3 to 5% region on gold. Gold strikes me today as a better currency hedge. Bitcoin tends to trade with vol, tends to trade with the NASDAQ. So we're running considerably lower than that in crypto. I just think it's going to go up, and I think it's a good expression. But 5 seems high to me, but it depends where you are in your life and how much risk you want to take.
Well, we'll see you on the stage, the big stage I said as the headline speaker, the keynote today. Rick.
Well, there's no end to this. Day in and day out, the media is clear. Bitcoin is the asset that the powers that be want us to buy. Guys, you live in Hunger Games. We live in Maze Runner, Allegiant. These are in time with Justin Timberlake. Great flick. We got to know what we live in. We got to know when to fight battles and when to move forward with the empire. And Bitcoin seems to be the thing they want everyone to buy. So is the bottom in? I don't know. But I don't know that I would stay on the sidelines for much longer, especially since it seems like the 4-year cycle has been invalidated and everything's going to be geared towards now even more financialization of the U.S. economy. All right, that's it, folks. Thank you for staying through, even with the technical glitches. We'll be back, I guess, on Monday. It's Thursday. Did not even realize. We'll be back on Monday with another Daily Bread. If you guys are interested in following me more, please go to X and look up the username Sacred Prophet. I'm also Sacred Prophet on YouTube, on Instagram, on everywhere. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.